Jesus, I found my light. With Jesus by my side, I conquer every fight. Walking in faith, I won't be afraid. His love surrounds me, my fears will fade. Hope is my anchor, love is my guide. With Jesus I'll overcome, I'll never hide. A warrior of strength, in His name I rise. In a world of chaos, His love never dies.
She's an award-winning author, speaker, owner of GodlyGranny.com, and podcast host, sharing the truth with you. This is The Michelle Moore Show.
Who else does that when the song goes, ooh? I love that. All right. I hope you're enjoying the new open song that we have. Yesterday, we ended yesterday's show with the new lyric video so you could hear the song in its entirety. Obviously, with the show open, we only use about, 20 seconds of it. And so it's a clip out of that song, that music bed. And so I hope you enjoyed it yesterday. If you missed it, we'll end today's show with it as well. Very excited. Jack and Margy Flynn, they're back home, y'all. And so we're really excited to have them. And I can't wait. This has been a while in the making. I'm so excited to have them here, you guys. And so we got some big things to discuss. Get your notepads out. You know how it is when they're here. We got to learn some things. And so I have got some things lined up for them to answer and explain to us so that we can understand what we're seeing pretty much all the time now, what they've been doing in the fight against data centers. Oh, they've been working. They don't ever stop. And so we're going to be doing that. I want to remind you that tomorrow and Thursday, so Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to be doing documentaries and educational videos as normal. So the first one tomorrow, we're going to be doing 6 inches of soil. This was released back in 2024. And it's learn about the inspiring British farmers who are standing up against the industrial food system and feeding the roots of regeneration. And so excited about that one. And then Thursday, we had to do it. We had to. With so much going on with fluoride, it's going to get brought up today. Just wait and see. I'm sure of it. But fluoridation, cease and desist. This came out in 2014. Listen to every word I'm fixing to say. This is crazy. So this is the description of it. This educational film takes an in-depth look at the history of water fluoridation and how entire populations have been mass medicated and slow poisoned without their consent. A clear human rights violation. Probably need to talk with Jack and Margy about that one too. Okay, I want to tell you, mark your calendars, ladies. The Godly Granny Beauty Boot Camp tickets are going on sale Friday. So Friday, we have our Godly Granny new releases, 18 new releases, brand new. I'm so excited. Curly-headed ladies, I got you. The shampoo and the condition, they'll bless your curls instead of bless your heart. It's bless your curls. Bless your curls shampoo and conditioner coming out this Friday. I have been testing, so I got some emails about my hair. I have been testing a product that I have already approved and will be coming out, I think it's the end of August. And it will be another, as you can tell, another curly hair product that will go with the Bless Your Curls line. It'll be called Bless Your Curls, and then it's got some more to it. But I'm loving the product. So we're going to be releasing it as well. So trying to take care of my girls that got the curly hair. And the first two are this Friday with the shampoo and the conditioner that I'm absolutely loving. Okay, with all that said, I want to go back. Tickets to Godly Granny Beauty Boot Camp, $97. And you will be able to purchase them during the show. We'll release all that. And you'll be able to purchase tickets starting Friday. It's not a big event. This is not a large venue. It is a small venue for a reason. And so there's a small, limited amount of tickets. And once they're gone, they're going to be gone. It's not even 100 tickets. I'll give you that much. It's that small. The venue is gorgeous. The photographer has already been booked. That happened a couple of hours ago. But the venue was provided by Universal Coin and Bullion and Wave Watch. And it's just muy bien, y'all. And so your ticket price will also include lunch and goodies and all that stuff throughout the day. So you don't have to pay for anything while you're there. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is the local time. And so we're very excited. It's in October. All the details will be on the listing on the website this Friday during the show. So mark your calendars, ladies, if you're planning on coming. When the tickets are gone, they're gone. All right. It's just, we can only seat so many people. So wanted to let you know now, so that way you got plenty of time to prepare. Okay. If you are on social media and you were talking about Godly Granny, please be sure to tag us. I'm on all the platforms just about, except for TikTok, where I've been banned. I don't even know what I did. That's the bad thing. They wouldn't even approve our stuff with Godly Granny. I'm pretty sure it's the name of the company. I'm just telling you. I'm like when I say pretty sure, I'm like 99.99999% sure that it was because we give glory to God. That's just the way it goes. Nothing else was making sense. And we finally gave up, and then I got banned. And so who's surprised? So with all of that said, we want to show you a social media post I came across last night. And she was talking about the Godly Granny nighttime, the Magnesium Boost nighttime cream. Take a look.
You have trouble sleeping? Listen up. This is the Godly Granny Magnesium Boost Night Cream, and it has a vitamin D3 and chamomile. I am telling you, chef's kiss. Magnesium is great to take at night because it's going to help you sleep. And then obviously you guys know, or maybe you don't know, chamomile is very calming. So if you're somebody, especially a woman in perimenopause or even menopause, and you have trouble sleeping, this is going to be your best friend. Clearly, I use it. You rotate every single night. So tonight I'm going to put it on my feet, but you could put it on the back of your neck. You could put it on your chest, your stomach, your inner thigh, your arm. And like I said, I'm going to use it on my feet. I'm not going to show you guys my feet because some of y'all are weird on here. You guys are weird. Put it on both. And when I don't sleep with this, like if I have crappy sleep and I wake up in the morning, I'm like, why did I sleep so terribly? Then I remember I forgot to take this. This right here, you will sleep like a baby.
So if you're on social media and you tag us and you give a little bit of education, not, buy it because I said it's great. I'm talking some facts, some details, how to apply it like she did. She did a really good job. You never know. I mean, tag me. You never know what you might get. You might get a little something gift in the mail just for doing that. You just never know. But it's got to be good and it's got to be right. So make sure you tag me if you're talking and showing off your Godly Granny goodies. Very excited. Don't forget today is the last day of the sale for 20% off. So I want to tell you, y'all have just tore it up. And so it might take a minute. I don't even think the Granny Shack has looked like this in the last year. It's crazy. Y'all have cleared the shelves. It's absolutely insane. I guess y'all know that we don't do a 20% off sale hardly ever, except for when it's Granny's birthday. And maybe Flashaganza and Michelleganza. I'm not sure. But anyways, so the sale's over tonight, 11:59 Central Standard Time. And so just wanted to remind you, this is your last chance, okay? And y'all have been so good, just so good. You know what I realized? We have so much home stuff and so much stuff that, I'm not having to go to the stores anymore. The ones that are part of the cabal. I'm not having to do that. And I can tell by y'all's orders, there's a lot of you not going either. Y'all are keeping it in the family. That's what you're doing. And I just want to say thank you. It helps us to help other people. It helps us to grow so that we can continue to make a big impact in your lives. It was so great. My neighbor came over yesterday. I'd just gotten out of the tub. My hair was in a big ponytail, and she knocked on the door. She had her wallet in her hand. She had gone to a local store where Godly Granny products are located, and she goes, wait a minute, that's her neighbor. So she wanted to know if there was some pomegranate ice butter balm in the house, that they wanted to buy some right then. And so anyway, she's come back tonight with her list. But it is growing like crazy, and you guys are loving it. I love hearing the phrase, I love all my Godly Granny. And so it's so good. Y'all are amazing. And I just want to say thank you, because it takes a village. It takes a village to do the shows and to share with your friends, your family, your neighbors, your coworkers. It takes a village Jack and Marty's gonna be on today. We need you to share it. We need the help. And it's just like I can come up and work with the formulators and do all the things, but you guys got to share it. You got to buy the products. You got to give the products for, special occasions and all. And y'all have really shown up and shown out. And all I can say is I hope that you're loving your Godly Granny goodies. We got an email today. I told the lady I would talk about it because there's just too much to put in an email, and I didn't have her phone number. So y'all should send me your phone number when you email me, because you never know. Sometimes it's just easier for me to pick up the phone. So let me read the email. So producer Ron, if you could please, the 2P number 1. And so she says, I need to know before placing order. Hi, Michelle, ordering if you can help me out. Wondering if you can help me out. Just before you went curly again, I do kind of go in phases. Just before you went curly again, your hair was looking so thick. It doesn't look thick now. I think it looks like crazy. Can you explain to me what you used? I want to place an order today, but need to know the products that you used first. Thank you and have a blessed day, Cindy. So Cindy, viewer Cindy, customer Cindy, I got my products out, put them up on the countertop, and here you go. Okay, so on the far left, on the bottom, you're going to see that that's the clarifying acne scrub. But remember, all of our scrubs can actually be used also as shampoos and conditioners. And I'm convinced that this gives my hair body like never before. And so that's what I was using in the time frame that she mentioned. I was loving it. I do take the Samson's Mane serum and I put some on my fingertips, and then I'll do like this. And so I have noticed my hair thickening through here, just this, kind of that widow's peak kind of thing that you'll hear people talk about. And I'm just making sure all that stays thick. I've been doing that for months. I only use Godly Granny products since the first shampoo and conditioner were released. Really before that, I will sometimes use activated charcoal scrub or the bar soap. When I use an activated charcoal product, hear me, this is very important. I have a rain head shower. And I will literally stand under the water when I put it on, and I'll make sure it gets through here and detoxes those hair follicles. And when I do that, I'm under the water because activated charcoal is one of the absolute strongest detoxers in the world. And so it does not need to sit on your face or on your hair. Okay. It is so strong. I can feel it detoxing my hair as it's running through my hair. It does not need to sit on your hair. Men, women, hear me. So, but it is a major detoxer. And it will detox those hair follicles. And I think a lot of times can help, as we know with Tanya Jones, one of our viewers, they had before and after photos with her husband showing him using it, which was so brilliant of Tanya to take some before photos. So I highly recommend that. Didn't even think about that to put here. But I've been using that for months. And then I use a clarifying shampoo. And then I use, I'm loving the thickening and volumizing shampoo. The thickening and volumizing will change over to curly shampoo and conditioner. Loving those. And then because I'm a blonde, I don't use it every time, but the shampoo and the conditioner, I love the purple conditioner because it's such a big hydrator, deep conditioner. But if you're not blonde, gray-headed, silver-headed, the purple won't work for you. And so that's for you guys. Then I want to go back over to the left. Next to the Samson's Mane is that little silver and orange. They got the white and orange label. That is your argan product. It's argan and keratin, and I use this. This is also a great product to put on your hair if you're going to straighten your hair and use a flat iron. If you're going to curl it and use a curling iron. It's just a heat protectant also. It's 3 things in one. It is amazing. I use this product. It's the first thing I put on my hair after I get out of the shower. It just gives so much to your hair. And so I have been doing that as well. I had put a Facebook post up about a week ago, and I was talking about my skin, and people started talking about my hair though, and saying my hair also looks thicker now. Well, I've been using Godly Granny products for almost a year now on my hair with the shampoo and the conditioner. And so I think that's a lot of it. It is thicker. It is all of that, and healthier. And it's the Godly Granny products that we're using. So I don't use anything on my hair that is not Godly Granny. Let me tell you that as well. So I hope that answers your questions and gives you some good details. Okay. All right. We also have 2 Samson's Mane products coming out on Friday. Y'all are going to be surprised. we got a 7-in-1 product. And so we just kept adding vitamins and all kinds of important ingredients. And it was going to be 5-in-1, and it just, ended up being 7-in-1. So anyways, it's going to be called a Samson's Mane 7-in-1 super spray. Because, if it does 7 things, it's super. So we're going to be doing that too, releasing it on Friday as well. So hope you're excited about all the great things coming up. And with that said, it's time to bring Jack and Margy in. We got to talk with them. We got to get down to business, y'all. So let's go ahead and bring in Jack and Margy Flynn. If you all are unfamiliar with Jack and Margy, which what rock have you been hiding under? Then you may not know that they're constitutionalists. And so, hello, Jack. Hello, Margy. Thank you for being here.
Michelle, good to see you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, you always look good.
And thank you. You too, Jack. And Margy. Look at Margy. She's looking good. So welcome home. And so,
Very much. Good to be here.
Good to be here.
Good to be back.
All right. So let's get started. What have y'all been doing?
You can answer
What haven't
that
we
one.
been doing? The usual, lots of people looking for help, asking questions, wondering about their rights. And right now there's a big push to bring data centers into everybody's lives, which we don't need. So we've been getting requests from people. What do we do? How do we handle them? And trying to step up to the plate to do the right thing. It's really a super important issue right now because these centers are being pushed on us as if we need them. We don't need them. It's the surveillance network that needs them so they can spy on everybody 24/7, 365. And that's blatantly unconstitutional, which anyone who has a clue about the Constitution should know. We have a right to privacy. And data centers will make sure that there will be no privacy because it's going to have access to every database that has any information about any of us at any time. Anything we've done, it will do. And that is a very, very frightening thing. We're supposed to be living in a constitutional republic in a country that claims to be the land of the free and the home of the brave, but it's ever more evident that this country is the land of the fee and the home of the slave. And if people don't abide by the mandates, the dictates that are going to be foisted upon us, which they're already doing in some places now, then they're going to be blocked from accessing basic services, utilities, medical things, being able to travel. And this is also lining up with their attempt to do the 15-minute cities that I'm sure a lot of your viewers know about because they've been, I would say, postured for a long time. First, people thought it was more like science fiction, going back to some of the dystopian movies where people couldn't go any place unless they had permission, this type of thing that they did back in the 90s and early 2000s. But it's coming to pass, folks, in real time. And
it sure is fast.
Yes, it is. And they're expediting things because they've got their own agenda, which they're not revealing to us. And we can only speculate or surmise what they're trying to do. But whatever their reasoning is, be aware that they are stepping on the gas and pushing forward. So it's up to the people. If we want to stop this, it's absolute tyranny. And if we want to prevent our lives from being completely and totally enslaved by this system, it's basically a surveillance grid system, then we have to step up to the plate. And we have to make sure that we don't allow these data centers to be built. A lot of communities have been deceived and fooled because they were told it was going to bring lots of money to the community and jobs and, tax revenue. And that's not true. It's really the opposite. It doesn't bring jobs. From what I can understand from the research that I've done, these centers bring maybe 30 to 50 jobs full time. There are construction jobs, obviously, when these monstrous things are being built, but those don't last. And they don't bring benefits to the communities in terms of tax revenue because most of these centers strike a deal with the towns or the counties whereby they get huge tax breaks, some of them as much as 65% for 30 years. That's a long time. And the other side of the coin is that not only do they not benefit you, they harm you because they have massive water use, utility use. They bring all manner of pollution, radiation, diesel pollution because they need diesel engines to cool them. They're depleting water tables. There are places where wells are going dry. They're fouling the water. Other people are getting brown goop out of their faucets instead of, genuine clean water. And then you have the whole idea of light pollution, which is another thing people don't think of, and the noise pollution. I've heard these things operating from as far away as about 1.5 to 2 miles, and the sound is horrific. And that's going all day long. That doesn't stop at all. This disrupts flora and fauna, the ecosystem. It's harmful to animals, and it's harmful to people too. I remember we tried to help people in Maine with the wind towers that were being proposed at the time, which is another sad story. Anyway, those things were so bad that people whose homes were relatively near them had to leave. They couldn't even sell them. They just had to walk away because the constant worrying and the vibration was making people sick. They were having heart attacks, mental breakdowns, the whole bit. And I think the same thing is going to happen with these towers or these data centers. It's the same vibrational pollution. So there's so many factors that make them dangerous. And they're a fire hazard to top everything else. So that's going to put a huge burden on especially some of these smaller communities who have volunteer firefighters, and they don't even have huge equipment or anything to cope with something that large. So we really have to understand what we're up against, and we have to look at our options. And it's very clear to us that the best way to go forward is to use the Constitution to stop this by holding your local officials accountable to the people and the Constitution to which they took an oath. And if they don't uphold the rights of the people, they perjure that oath, and they are vacating their office on the spot, because any public official who doesn't uphold his oath to the Constitution by violating it in any way, including violating the people's rights, is not fit to hold public office and is prohibited from receiving public funds. So you need to know that there is a strong position for you, but you have to understand how that works.
The reality here, and we're bottom line people, we always deal with the bottom line and the reality of the situation, is the fact that although all politicians and public offices take oaths to the Constitution, none of them abide by those oaths. None of them. Now, you might find a few rare examples here and there on occasion, but by and large, we have countless politicians, public officers, bureaucrats in this country. None of them abide by their oaths. Okay. Now, on the other hand, you have the American people who don't require the politicians and those who work for us to abide by their oaths. And we've been trying to get the people to understand that for a long time. The people are the de jure government. The people have the constitutional authority to require this, but they don't do it. Now, Margy mentioned the situation up in Maine. We try to get the people in Maine to understand the hazards of this wind power. Yeah. It was ridiculous. It was horrible. Well, I won't go into it, but many of the hazards in the data centers were also within the wind towers, okay? And Maine was plastered with wind towers. Now, we had constitutional positions and we could have stopped them, but we had no support up there. The people were saying, well, you're not from Maine, so what do you know? Who the hell are you? I mean, what are you doing here telling us what to do? We weren't telling people what to do. We were showing the people that they had the authority, the constitutional authority, to stop these towers. They didn't do it. We moved out of Maine. We said, that's it. We're out of here. Okay. And now they're plastered with wind towers. And the electric rates in Maine have increased about, what, 400%?
3 times is what they were in climbing.
Yeah.
And they were, reasonably, I wouldn't say low, but moderate when we lived there. And now they're 3 times higher than they were and climbing. And there's no hope in sight because the political climate in Maine, if that's the right word, is hopelessly gone communist and completely dumbed down to the point that you can't even reach them. They won't even respond to their constituents. And that is really a disgrace. Okay. And it's up to the people to get rid of them. And they're sitting on their hands.
Well, that sounds like a dictatorship.
It is a dictatorship. That's what communism is, folks. It's a dictatorship. Yeah. And it promises you the moon and it gives you nothing but grief and nightmares. It's terrible.
Now, as bad as those wind towers were, and as Margy said, people had to just leave their homes. They couldn't sell the homes. Who was going to buy the homes? I mean, and there were many homes that people just walked away from, so they lost everything. The data centers are going to be about 20,000 times worse than the wind towers, okay? Now, we have to look at who's behind the data centers. Who's behind AI? It's all the governments in the world, including your government. Okay. All the governments in the world, all of the power structure that controls this world are behind this data center evolution, and it is an evolution, okay? And it's an attack upon the people. And if the people aren't aware enough and bright enough, okay, and patriotic enough to recognize this and stop them, then they will be all over the country. Something like 5,500 are planned, okay? Now, we don't know how many will be built, but 5,500 are planned. Can you imagine 5,500 data centers or more in this country? What is this doing? Well, this is driving people out of the cities, out of the towns, out of the locations, and bringing them right into the controlled environments, which is exactly what the government wants, okay? And they're dangerous. As Margy said, they pollute everything. The noise is atrocious, okay? We had a position on earlier that you showed a fellow talking about the fire. It's a fire hazard, okay? Fire needs water to be put out. The data centers are taking up the water as much as they possibly can. There's one community in Nevada, what is it, Lake Tahoe? The people of Lake Tahoe were told, you have to find another source of electricity because all the electricity you're getting now is going to the data centers.
It's being built.
This is an attack on the people by the power structure. And the power structure expects to win. Because let's face it, the power structure has always won. The people will not oppose evil in this country. They won't oppose unconstitutional actions in this country. Now, our people have, okay, for years. We got a call today. We get calls or emails all the time. I won this case. I won this battle. You know, I won some money, whatever.
Such happened.
Yeah. In this one particular case today, this fellow, Doug, a student of ours from Oahu in Hawaii, just won a case. And it was a very simple position, a position that we've held for a long time. Constitution is the supreme law. All politicians take an oath to the Constitution. All judges take an oath to the Constitution. However, as soon as they gain office, they forget the Constitution. So the legislatures pass these unconstitutional bills called statutes that are signed into law unconstitutionally by the governor. So the governor never exercised his duty of checks and balances to make sure the laws are faithfully followed. He just signed into law the unconstitutional laws. And then you have the courts that uphold the unconstitutional actions of the legislature and the governor, okay? Well, where's the justice here? There's no justice at all, okay? It's a conflict of interest from A to Z. There is no constitutional protection to the people. So this fellow in Hawaii goes to court and basically says what I just said and says this is a conflict of interest. There's no justice here. The judge immediately dismissed the case because he recognized that from a constitutional perspective, this fellow was right. Well, we wish more people would use constitutional positions in court. Yeah. As far as we know, and I ask this on every podcast we appear all the time, if anyone in the audience knows of any others in this country using constitutional positions to win individually against government or for a community to win individually against government, let us know, because we don't know of any. I mean that. I've been asking this for years and years and years. I don't think anyone in the Constitution uses the uses the Constitution to win victories like we and our people do.
They don't think it. They go immediately to statutes and codes because that's the nonsense that's given to them. Oh, we're doing this under this code or this statute. And the people go, oh, okay, instead of saying, well, wait a minute, that statute is unconstitutional because it violates this or this or this. So it's not constitutional. Therefore, it can't be a valid law and it doesn't have any enforcement effect on the people. So let's get rid of it. So this is what people have to know. And when they do that, when they actually speak up with constitutional authority that they're standing on, this is their position, then these officials back off because they know that what they're doing is fraudulent. It's administrative and corporate. It's not constitutionally compliant. So it's not ordained by and through the supreme law of the land. And that's the oath that they take when they take an office. So we hold them to that oath. That's the first duty that any public official has, no matter what his level of authority is. Mm-hmm. supposed to uphold the Constitution, the national and the state. If he doesn't do that, then he is not a valid public officer. He doesn't have any lawful authority to make any decisions, pass any laws, or what have you. And if people who just knew those simple facts, and they presented them whenever the companies who are running the cities, and they're all corporations, they're not legitimate governments anymore. When these corporate entities start pushing, like they're pushing now with these data centers, and they say, "Oh, it's not us, it's progress. We have to modernize." No, anything that goes against the rights of the people, the best interest of the American people, is not progress. It's not modernization. It's tyranny, pure and simple. And it's driven by a really evil communist agenda, which is designed to herd us into these 15-minute cities and treat us like cattle and literally limit what we can say and do, to the point that they can shut off your car's engine. Now, most people today have cars that have computers running their engines. It's just the way it is. Those cars can be shut off remotely. Did you know that? They can stop you in your tracks just like that. So if somebody decides that, gee, I'm not going to abide by that ridiculous mandate, I'm not going to do what they tell me to do because I don't believe in it, it's wrong, and they get wind of you, they can just shut your car off. They can shut off your electric power. You have no heat, have no air conditioning, can't cook, wash your dishes, whatever. These are things that the American people have to start looking at and saying, this is not about a dystopian movie. This is about what their intentions have been for a very long time. And they've been real clever about it. They are incremental. They move a little slowly here, and then they take a little jump, and then they move slowly again. So people say, oh, no, that was an unfounded worry, and then they jump again. So we have to stop being naive and being blind to what's happening to us. We have to realize that we are the only thing that can save ourselves and our country. Because there isn't a politician walking on this earth today that gives a damn about any of us. And I hate to say that. There may be one or two decent ones like Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. But those people are few and far between, and they've been marginalized by the powers that be. And you know who I'm talking about, Michelle. It's no secret.
Yeah.
That's come again.
So Margy, I want to stop you and say, we got a couple of viewer questions I want to make sure we get to. No Nonsense Netta says, question, why are lawyers, attorneys, etc., saying that they can't bring a case citing anything having to do with health when fighting these centers or 5G? Why? What is going on there?
Well, that's a pack of lies right there.
First of all, you have to understand. I mean, you understand. I'm talking about your audience in the questionnaire has to understand that attorneys are beholden to the system for their jobs. Mm-hmm. They're put into power by the system. They're licensed by the system. Now, that's absolutely incorrect, but that's the story that's put out there, that attorneys have a license to practice law. No, they don't have a license to practice law. They are given permission to practice law by one of the justices in that state, the appellate court or the Supreme Court, allow them to practice law. There is no license to practice law in this country. Mm-hmm. The law is for everyone. It's free and open. Anyone can practice law. We practice law all the time, okay? We're told we can't. Yeah, we can. We have the right to practice law, okay? Everyone has that
it's right. In the public domain.
They're absolutely in the public domain, and there is no constitutional prohibition against it, okay? So attorneys represent the systems. The system wants the data centers. There's no doubt about that, okay? And the systems will always find for the data centers and discourage the people from taking action against the data centers. Now, there are some legitimate attorneys. They're not all bad, okay? Nothing and no one is all bad. But the problem is the vast majority of attorneys will sell out their clients and represent the system. So if the attorneys come in and theoretically represent the people against the data centers, eventually they sell out the people for the benefit of the data centers. That's just how it works, okay? We not only have a corrupt government, we have a totally corrupt society, and we have to recognize that. Now, one of my ancestors, John Adams, said, the Constitution was meant only for a moral, ethical society. I think you would agree we're not moral, we're not ethical at all. Now, there are moral and ethical people in America, by all means, but the society is not moral, and it's certainly not ethical, and it's certainly not godlike. A lot of people talk about God, okay? Well, what did they do to implement the positions that have been laid down by God, Jesus, and spiritual structures? Not much, not much, here and there, but very, very little. Go ahead.
I listened to a pastor last night. There was a video I came across, Jack, and the pastor was talking to his congregation, and he was talking about how America has never been a Christian society. And he went all the way back. He said, well, I mean, think about it. Would Christians displace millions of Native American Indians who
No,
are now to this day still in poverty?
No.
Would
No.
Christian, and so he went through a list of stuff like, we went to war supposedly over whether or not a person can own another person as a slave.
Yeah.
And he talked about the slavery aspect of it. And it was very interesting. He made some really good points.
I'm glad that he addressed them.
Well,
To be fair, though, that war really was not about slavery. That was the color
know.
they put on it. It wasn't. It was a money war. It was a business situation. But they used the slavery issue because they knew it would push the buttons of those of us who are moral, who are Christian-like in our views, to say, oh, that's wrong. And of course it was wrong. That was just the excuse to get the people to fight, because the South had every right to secede because it was being treated badly. It was being cheated, in all places.
look,
So they had
we don't support slavery.
No,
Okay.
of course not.
I don't care who the slave is, what color it is, male,
Doesn't
female,
matter.
doesn't matter. I don't care where in the world the slavery takes place, and there's massive slavery throughout this world. Okay, we don't support it.
Yes.
We certainly
Today.
didn't support
Today.
the South doing it. Today, right now,
That's right.
massive
That's
slavery
right.
everywhere,
There's slavery.
and the governments don't do a damn thing about it. The governments gain from it and encourage from it. But let me get back to this pastor. That pastor is right. And you've heard me say this before, but for new people who maybe don't know us, let me say it again. The American Revolution was a fraud. I hate to put it that way, but it was a fraud. Okay? The people who fought the revolution thought they were doing the right thing. And I can tell you, they did the right thing. Okay? They were genuine. It wasn't them. It was the leadership. Okay? And who controlled that leadership. All right?
Yeah.
The American Revolution was funded by foreign Jews, banker
Bankers.
Jews, okay? And Washington was their agent, George Washington. Now, a
We're
lot of
talking about
people-
the Khazarian mafia, right?
Yes.
Yes. That's
Yes.
right.
Okay, I want
The
to make
bankers.
sure everybody understands.
It's the bankers.
Right.
It's
Talking
not
about
the
the
ordinary
bankers.
people.
We're not talking about all Jewish people.
No.
No.
Look, there are a lot of Jews out there who are great people.
Yes.
I mean, look at New York, for instance. When Mandami, what's his name in New York? Mandami.
Yeah.
Supported various people, okay, who were supportive of Palestinians. Something like 52 or 53% of the Jews in New York voted for those people, okay? There are a lot of good Jews in this country. I'm not talking about all Jews at all. There are a lot of good Jews. I'm talking about the uber wealthy, okay?
The
The
controllers.
billionaires, the trillionaires, the people that own the central banks, okay, and the world banks.
The big
That's
corporations.
what we're talking about, the major corporations, the movers and shakers of the world. Well, they hired Washington as their first agent, okay? And you'll never hear this, you'll never see this in history, but in the first election, John Adams won because John Adams was a man of the people. But he didn't serve the foreign interests, okay, who funded the revolution. And the foreign interests funded the revolution not for the benefit of the country, but for the benefit of the foreign interests, okay? And this goes to what your preacher said, the one you just mentioned a little while ago. So what happened was when Adams won, there was a second electoral vote right away, and miraculously, Washington won. Okay? Well, he was the agent of the foreigners, of these uber wealthy Jews, and they weren't all Jews, uber wealthy bankers out of England. Okay? And they set up the country for their benefit, for their ownership position.
It's an investment.
Okay? And the first thing Washington did was set up a foreign-owned central bank owned by this cartel as the Bank of the United States that every other bank had to deal with. All right? 1791, he did that. He did that along with Hamilton, and he did that with John Jay, who was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Hamilton was the Secretary of the Treasury. So our country was founded in fraud. You have to understand that. It was founded in fraud. Now, 20 years later, because the bank only had a 20-year charter, the people of the country were devastated. They said, look, I've lost my home, I've lost my plantation, I've lost my farm, I've lost my family, I've lost everything because of the bank and what the tactics of the bank, just like the same tactics used by the Federal Reserve Bank, but only in those days, only worse. So the Congress said, no, we're not going to renew the charter of the bank. 20-year charter, we won't renew it. So the forces in England said, look, you either renew that charter or we form another central bank, okay, or we'll devastate you. And the politicians said, well, I guess you're going to have to devastate us because the people don't want the bank and we don't want it either. That caused the War of 1812. And the
Okay, hold on. I've got a question here. Ron, bring up the Roman Pyramid of Power. So I want to, because I'm sure we got some people that are not familiar with some of this history, and I don't want to lose people. And I want to make sure, because the deal is in the details here, where people, if they can understand, and so
The connections, yes, they need to see.
Yes.
Liberace.
Okay, so this is called the Roman Pyramid of Power. Everybody knows it's my favorite image. And so at the right up, you will see, so this is called the Tri-City State or the Roman Pyramid of Power. And so if you'll look, the Vatican, which is in charge of religion and Roman law, all that at the top. And then you've got to the left, you've got Washington, D.C. Did you know Washington, D.C. has its own flag? Well, that's what it looks like. And you see those three stars.
Yeah.
So, they're in charge of Zionist communism or Zionist government. And then you see where the flag has three stars. I believe the three stars represent the Vatican City,
Yes.
Washington, D.C., and the City of London. City of London on the right-hand side, you see where it says money and finance, and you see Rothschild banking. Okay. So we want to make sure everybody's clear here. And then this goes into who's in charge. And so it's got, the all CNI at the top there. And then it says Jesuits, the Illuminati, Knights Templar, Knights of Malta, 32nd degree of plus Freemasons, because there's actually more degrees than, actually, it's my understanding there's more than 33.
Yes.
Organized religion, which, by the way, also I watched a documentary 7 years ago about Washington. And the two guys that were trying to do the documentary, they shared all of the things they came up against, the sabotage, all of that, when it came to exposing Washington, President Washington, who was a Freemason. And they were talking about how there's even a Masonic whole thing at the museum in DC about Washington, and that George Washington, and that he was a Mason and all that. So that goes in line with what you're talking about. But this going back to the image, it says organized religion. And then below that, the secret services and societies. God is not in the secret keeping business. And so anything that's a secret society, that tells you that our Heavenly Father it's not part of what he is about, because he is the light. And then you have, so that's my rule of thumb. If it's the word secrets in there, I'm out. It's no bueno. They can say whatever they want to, but no, I'm not buying it. Because God is not in the secret keeping business. Okay. So secret societies and societies. Then below that is the military, the police, and the mafia. Yes, the mafia. And then you got the UN, the US, the EU, the G20, and NATO. And then you got big banks, big mafia, and big industry. Y'all hear that? And then national, regional, and local politics. And then you have the NGOs, non-governmental organizations, which that's a whole rabbit hole. Think tank, or what is that? Think tanks.
Think tanks, yeah.
Yes. And big charities. Big charities. We'll just put a little pin there. I like to talk about that often. But so when you're saying London, this is part of that.
City of London, yes.
All roads go back to this. That's why I love seeing this, because and like to bring it up all the time, because this is it. It's the Roman Pyramid of Power. It shows you who's in control. And you're talking about London And so, and all of their power even back then. So wanted to make sure that everybody understands who all's involved and how the hierarchy works. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So with that said, just wanted to kind of give some foundational information and education here. So
I'm
Jack,
glad you brought that up because a lot of people don't know that. So that pictorial image,
Makes it easier. to
yeah, makes it
comprehend.
easy for people to understand. And what we're trying to tell the people is the whole country was founded in fraud, okay? And it exists in fraud right now. It's existed in fraud forever. And the only ones who can stop that fraud are the people. But let me get back to the situation. So England came in and devastated us. That
War was a real war.
1812 was a real war. It wasn't a throwaway war. It was a real war. And they devastated us very badly. So badly, we said, okay, fine. We'll agree to another bank. So the second central bank was set up, and we've had a central bank in America ever since. Now, people will tell you, no, Jackson killed the bank. Yeah, he did. But he gave the power to the state banks that the central bank had. So the central bank still continued. And it was put to bed in 1913 with the Fed. So the position I'm trying to get across here, folks, and Margy and Michelle, is that we are controlled by vast, powerful, controlling interests.
Mhm.
No politician in this country upholds the Constitution. No politician in this country upholds your rights. No politician in this country upholds the constitutional republic. Okay? They're all working for a corporation that was founded in 1871 in Washington, D.C. So technically, America is no longer a constitutional republic. It really is.
Well, in practice,
But
it's
it
not.
acts as a corporation. And that corporation works for itself. And all of the politicians in this country work for that corporation. Wherever you live is a corporation. I don't care where you live.
yes.
You live in Georgia,
That's
it's a
why-
corporation.
Okay, well, let's hold on a second because you're saying a lot of really big things here, and we want to make sure that people understand. So I'm pulling up, I want to direct people to Michelle Moore Show, 3 words, Michelle Moore Show. Michelle's 2 L's, Moore has 2 O's, and show. All right, .com. It is a link tree, and you can go down. There's some valuable information on here. In fact, Jack and Margy documents, I'm notified all the time that people are downloading the documents from Jack and Margy from a year and a half ago. They're still being downloaded. In here, you will see there is a document. I'm looking for it. There's so much stuff in here, y'all. This is a gold mine. This is a gold mine of information. Documents that good luck finding them now on the internet. Here it is. Okay, this is what you're looking for. So Jack and Margy were saying, if you live in a city, if you live in a state, so it's called the state of Tennessee. There's a difference in how there's wordsmithers, just like women's healthcare, right? Abortion's healthcare. They're wordsmithers. So there is a document called Dunn's, D-U-N-S, which is a Dun and Bradstreet, Dunn's numbers. Okay. This is a document I came across years ago and held on to it. And so we share about it. It's been a minute since we've covered this. It's a 4-page document. And if you'll go through here, it breaks it down even. This is a wonderful document. This is your proof right here. What Jackie and Margy are saying is on time. So page 2 says Dunn's numbers of the U.S. corporate government and most of the major agencies. Let's give you a few examples. So the U.S. government, it's a corporation. The U.S. Department of Defense, it's a corporation. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, it's a corporation. It's got its own Dunn's number. The U.S. Department of Labor, it's a corporation. See how this goes? So then you got Dunn's numbers of each U.S. corporate state and the largest city. Do you hear that what I just said? So each state, it doesn't mean that there's only one large city that has, that just means it's the largest one in that state. So for example, you got the state of Alabama, who's a corporation, okay, and it's got its number. And then over to the side, it says City of Birmingham with its own number, okay? So, and it goes on and on. So each state is listed in here, and that's pages at the bottom of 2 and all of 3. All right. And so I just want to kind of, and you can keep going and you'll see all this. These are entities that have been set up as for-profit corporations, right, Jack? Marty, because I don't know
Yes.
any corporation that's not in business to make money,
They're
right?
all in business to make money. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
okay. So these are very important things for people to understand. So we've been taught that our government is set up to work for we the people and our best interests. And really what it is they're for-profit corporations, and corporations always look out for number one, almost always. And if we go back to the Roman pyramid of power, not a lot of the 501c3s, the charities, the large charities, that'll be the same thing there too.
Exactly.
So, okay. So just want to make sure people understand some of this stuff. It's been a long time since we've talked about these things, and we just want to make sure that we don't lose people in some of these details. But MichelleMooreShow.com, goldmine.
Okay. Thank you for saying that, because the people really have to understand. And again, we're bottom line people. And you can see, folks listening, you can see by what Michelle has just stated and what she put on the screen before about the pyramids of power and where that power structure is. We are not a constitutional republic.
We're not operating as a constitutional republic.
We are not a constitutional republic, and no politician in the country upholds the Constitution, your rights, in the constitutional republic. They all work for the corporation. Now, you've got the national corporation, U.S. government. Then you have the state corporations that work with the U.S. government, okay? So everything comes down to the states and to the jurisdictions, the local jurisdictions from the U.S. corporation.
Beyond.
And that has nothing to do with your rights. That has nothing to do with your freedom. That has nothing to do with your liberties. It has everything to do with your slavery, okay? Taking away your rights. Now, we've been able to crack that system. We've been able to crack it many thousands of times, okay? Because we stand firm in the Constitution. And we emphasize the Constitution even though the system does not. And I'll give you an example. You talked about data centers. We'll give you an example of one data center we're trying to stop. And it's not just one, okay? It's in Connecticut, and it's all data centers in Connecticut, proposed data centers in Connecticut. Now, we were approached by a group in Connecticut to get involved in stopping unconstitutional legislation by that state, especially legislation involving data centers. We said, okay, we'll help you, but we will only help you if you deal with the Constitution and no lawyers. If you have any lawyers involved, or if you have any other laws, rules, or regulations, or statutes, administrative, commercial, otherwise, if you're thinking that way, we pass. Only
Jack, is that an example of the people using the law themselves and being able to, because law, you see what I'm saying? A little while ago, you said, well, we the people have an ability to practice law. Is that an example of that?
Yes,
yes, we do. We do. We have that
that's
ability.
using the law as it was intended to be, to support the rights of the people and to limit the actions that government take to impose upon or remove the rights of the people. That's using the law.
The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. That's stated in Article 6 of the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. That supreme law is for everyone in this country. No one can be denied the use of the Constitution, okay? Now, the systems try to do that by saying you have to be licensed to use our unconstitutional statutes, okay? That's a whole different position. We don't use the unconstitutional statutes. We only use the Constitution. So I'll make this quick. In that group that we didn't know at the time was one of our old students. I mean, going back, 25 years or something. He's not only a student, but a friend. And he's strictly constitutional. All right. And a very nice guy, very timid guy. Not timid, but
He's
compliant.
Polite.
He's
very
compliant.
polite.
Okay.
Very
And polite. Okay. And he tries to consider everyone's feelings. So he contacted us. He says, yeah, I'm part of the group. I said, look, we'll do this, but only if they go constitutional. So he spoke with the group, and they didn't even know the Constitution. They didn't know anything about it. Now, a few people knew a few things about it, but the vast majority knew nothing about it. Everything they were doing up to this time was statute, statute, statute. So we said, look, we will go this way if you want us to go this way, okay? The group didn't want us to go that way initially. So they filed some documents with the court based on statutes, and it didn't go too well. We got involved, and we said, look, this is what we would do, okay? And we didn't file any documents, but we comprised constitutional documents based only in the authority and the power of the Constitution, 0 statutes, 0 rules, 0 regulations, all constitutional, okay? And that was filed with the court. Well, the court came back and said, it's too long. It's supposed to be 35 pages, it's 65 pages.
There were a lot of exhibits.
Because we put everything in, you can think about in there. But the court said, we'll give you an opportunity to reduce this to 35 pages. And we said, great, that's exactly what we wanted. Because the 65-pager was a test to see what the court would do. And if the court wouldn't accept the 65-pager, okay, the rules and regulations of the court do not surpass and oversee constitutional rights. The constitutional rights oversee the rules and regulations. And this is found in 28 USC, section 207(2)B nationally and within all states, okay? As a put that away now, let's deal with this. Okay. And that corollary is found in all states as well. Okay, so the rules do not supersede the Constitution. And you can go to Miranda versus the United States, okay? Miranda versus Arizona. Okay, when the Constitution is called, no rules and regulations can surpass or supplant that Constitution. And there are many other cases like Miranda that uphold that position. So the Constitution is the supreme law, not the rules and regulations. But I think maybe the judge saw that, okay? So he said, we'll give you a chance to go to 34, 35 pages again, which is what we wanted. So we went to the 34, 35 pages, and we started it off, okay, in the very beginning by the complete verbiage of Article 6 of the Constitution, one of the most important pieces of the Constitution you'll ever see.
Supremacy clause.
Supremacy clause. It says everything in a nutshell, okay? And we followed that by sections 3 and 4 of the 14th Amendment. And we did that for this reason. Number one, Article 6 sets up the rules and regulations and the constitutional positions and mandates that must be abided by all politicians. And 3 and 4 of the 14th Amendment set up the consequences for not abiding by those rules and regulations, which is removal from office. Okay, so that's what we started off with. Everything else we put in that document was based upon and stated all of the unconstitutional actions committed by the legislature. Just as I said before, the legislatures write these unconstitutional actions. These unconstitutional actions were passed into the law by the governor, which meant the governor cared nothing about claims and balances and making sure that the laws were faithfully followed and that the Constitution was the supreme law.
Yes.
Okay. He went right by that. And the governor and the legislature expect the courts to uphold those unconstitutional positions. That's the way it is. That's what I explained earlier when that fellow from Oahu called us and said he won because he used those positions against the judge. And the judge says, you're right.
Yeah.
Case dismissed. It's over. Okay. So we're now in a position that everything is so constitutionally tight that there's no possible way that anything can be argued or to defeat it. Because if you're going to defeat a constitutional position, you have to do it with another constitutional position, okay? If I'm talking about rights guaranteed in the Fourth Amendment and someone disagrees with that, well, they're going to have to show me that the rights guaranteed in the Fourth Amendment are not constitutional, but the constitutional position they're arguing is constitutional and supplants the Fourth Amendment. Well, that's ridiculous. Okay, it cannot happen. You cannot rebut the Constitution with constitutional arguments. So what they originally tried to do when the 65-pager was in there, the AG came in and tried to rebut the constitutional positions that weren't as strong, because that was a test case.
He didn't rebut them at all. He evaded rebutting those positions by arguing nonsensical positions.
Right. He rebutted them with unconstitutional positions. Well, if they're unconstitutional, they're suppressed by Article 6. They're superseded by Article 6. So unconstitutional positions cannot replace constitutional positions. They have no position. And also,
which goes back to the Constitution is the supreme law of the
Supreme
land.
means supreme. There's nothing above it.
That's it.
Simple.
Nothing surpasses it. Zero.
And that's what people have to know. The whole point of this is that people need to know that these folks in Connecticut are trying their best to make their stand constitutional, because they realize the other administrative remedies don't work. They're designed not to work. They're designed to take people down a rabbit hole, and they get caught up in all the minutiae of the statutes, codes, and the codicils and whatever. And they don't make the most important argument, which supersedes all of that. And that's their rights supersede any of those statutes and codes. And they supersede the rules of the courts too. When the rules of the courts abridge people's rights, those rules fall away to the superior rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution. If people could just grasp that simple concept, they could stand up and speak truth to power effectively, because they're holding the trump card in their hand, which is the Constitution.
Now, one of the positions that was argued in the 35-pager was this: the AG has no constitutional authority whatsoever to represent the governor and the other respondents in the legislature. Why? Okay. Well, the AG took an oath to the Constitution. He's bound to obey that oath in the performance of his official duties. The governor, the legislature, committed unconstitutional actions by creating unconstitutional laws. He has no authority to uphold unconstitutional laws put into action by the governor and the legislature. So he's out, or he should lawfully be out. Okay, people have to understand this. We've had AGs and DAs dismissed before for the same reason. If the DA or the AG is protecting a governor or a state senator or U.S. senator, whatever, who violated the Constitution, he has no constitutional authority to represent that politician that violated the Constitution. So he must be removed. Now, we haven't heard from the AG yet. I don't know what reaction he has, but he has nothing to say. Okay, nothing to say whatsoever.
And see, if the AG was defending a governor that was accused of something else that did not perjure his oath,
yes, then he has the authority.
He would have the authority to stand in as his defense attorney. But this is not the case, because this is a strictly constitutional matter, and it needs to be addressed that way.
Now, the other position that people should really understand is very important. A right is unlimited, inalienable, okay? Cannot be touched, cannot be given away, cannot be sold, cannot be denied, okay? Cannot be, you can do nothing. If you're in the government, okay, you have no authority, constitutional authority whatsoever to deny a right, okay? Well, that's exactly what the governor did, the governor and the respondents, the AG and others, by filing a motion to dismiss, all right? Now, the motion to dismiss was calculated to deny that right of the people to petition the government for redress of grievances, which is guaranteed under the First Amendment. You have the 5 positions in the First Amendment. One of those positions is to petition the government for redress of grievances. Well, that's what our people in Connecticut did. They petitioned the government for redress of grievances. And yet the governor comes back, who's taken an oath to the Constitution, and tried to kill that position by denying the rights of the people. He has no constitutional authority to deny that right, okay? He has the constitutional authority to discuss that right and maybe even argue that right, but he has no constitutional authority to deny that right by the motion to dismiss. So a hearing is coming up on the 20th regarding a ruling on the motion, the governor's motion to dismiss. And the judge is in a very difficult position, okay?
I didn't say too much.
No, he's in a difficult position. First of all, as I said before, the legislator created unconstitutional actions passed into law by the governor. In the usual sense, the court is supposed to uphold those unconstitutional positions. And that's what the courts do all across the country, because there's no conflict of interest. They all work for the same entity. The legislators, the governor, and the court work for the corporate state of Connecticut, okay? So what is the judge going to do? Well, if he supports the governor's motion, okay, and approves the motion, then what is he doing? He's condoning, aiding, and abetting all of the unconstitutional actions committed by the legislator, committed by the governor, okay? So he's aiding and abetting and agreeing to those unconstitutional actions, which is treason.
Violates the Constitution and perjures oath.
That's treason, okay?
Yeah.
The legislator committed treason, the governor committed treason, and if the judge grants the governor's motion, the governor condones, aids, and abets that treason. And this is what the people have to understand. No one has the authority to commit treason. No one has the authority to rebel against the Constitution. No one has the constitutional authority, I'm talking, to commit unconstitutional actions, okay? Now, if the judge is in a position that he recognizes that he will commit treason by granting that motion, and if I were that judge, okay, let me just put myself in a neutral position if possible. It's difficult, but you can do it, okay? I would say, no, I am not going to uphold this motion, okay? I'm going to deny this motion, and I'm either going to grant the relief requested, okay, and or let it continue to argument, because I am not going to commit treason as these other two branches of government have, okay? And if he does grant that motion to dismiss, then there is no constitutional governance in the state of Connecticut, because the legislature, the executive, and the judicial all committed treason. And that's a pretty hard charge. And if he does that, these people will go after him like crazy. Okay?
Lawfully. Be careful what you say, Jack.
Go ahead,
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to play a couple of videos for you that I prepared for today that I want you to unpack for us as far as rights. And we're seeing this all over the country right now. And I want the viewers to understand exactly what they are really seeing here on a different level. So the first one we're going to look at is a 14-year-old little girl who is at a meeting, and she is trying to speak up. The meeting is about data centers. So it's people in a community that are clearly, expressing their opinions. I'm assuming mostly against data centers, like what we've been seeing throughout the country. She clearly has an issue with it. It's hard to hear some of what she says, but the words are on the screen. And so we're going to watch this, and then I want you to unpack what you just saw for the people and understand what's going on here.
Thank you so much.
I'm not hurting
killing anyone. We just don't
All
want
they're asking
data
for.
centers.
Hey, guys.
I'm gonna witness that. I don't care. I'm walking out.
Okay, tell us what's going on there.
Oh, that was a gross violation of that young woman's rights. She had the right to speak
Yeah.
at that meeting. Now, I don't know whether she had her 3 minutes given to her or whatever preceded that particular section. But as a citizen of that community, she had a right to speak before that public board, and she had a right to be heard instead of shushed the way she was. First Amendment, free speech, obviously. First Amendment, the right to assemble with people. And also, of course, very important, is the right to petition your government for a redress of grievances.
Three strong
And that's what she was
positions.
trying to do by speaking her truth about her concerns about the data centers. And instead of allowing that young woman to express her rights and enjoy her rights, they remove her. They physically remove her, which is basically an assault on her person. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment and of the Fifth Amendment and of the Eighth Amendment and of the Ninth Amendment. Remember, the Ninth Amendment is the one that's kind of like the freebie that the founders were smart enough to recognize that they probably didn't think of all the rights that we might want to enjoy as time went on. So they gave us this sort of flexible thing that said any rights that are not specifically mentioned in the Bill of Rights as being secured and protected are secured in this Ninth Amendment. It's a blanket thing. And so they hit more than a trifecta here. They have really done themselves an injustice. And the people who sat there and watched it should be thinking to themselves, my gosh, that could have been me or my daughter or granddaughter or what have you. And they really need to do something. This to me, if I were in that community, I would try to marshal a group of people to speak up and to take action against the police officers who took that young woman out of there without any lawful reason whatsoever. We always question authority. When government does anything in any form, we always question what is the authority behind the action. And I guarantee you there is absolutely no authority behind that action except the fact that the powers that be, meaning the local politicians, we don't want anybody to really know how bad these things are. We want to tell them all the good stuff. We're not going to talk about any possible bad stuff because, they might not want us to do it. Then what are we going to do? Because we probably already signed those private agreements. We might have got a little perk here and there, So we don't want to mess up our deal. So we're just going to keep that quiet. And if anybody we just say she was too rowdy or she was too young or whatever. They don't realize that that young woman has the same rights as every American citizen has. And she had the courage and the conviction to get up and try to express them in a public meeting. And what happened to her was criminal, and those people should be prosecuted.
Here are police, grown men who manhandled a 14-year-old girl
Give me a break.
for trying to speak her rights. Okay. Now, what did the people do?
A few stood
Nothing.
up. A few
They
stood
did
up.
nothing.
Just a few.
Look, when I say nothing, unless you stop the unconstitutional actions, you're doing nothing. Talk walks, action speaks volumes. Okay. The people should have stood up and said,
All
you're
of them.
not taking this girl. She has the right to say what she wants to say, and you have no constitutional authority to remove her. Now, do we want to get violent?
No.
Well, the American Revolution was violent, wasn't it? The American Revolution founded
It
America.
had to be.
It was a violent revolution. I'm not saying we should get violent, but we should get very strong on enforcing our rights, okay? Right to the point of violence. Because if we don't enforce our rights, we don't have any. If we don't know our rights, we don't have any.
Of course.
Now, let's take a
Okay.
look at the community where this took place. We can almost guarantee you that those people were bribed, meaning the
The
officials.
officials.
The officials were bribed or threatened
Promised.
or found in uncompromising positions. I mean, there are ways to bribe these people and pay them off. Money is no object to the powers that own this world.
That's true.
Okay, you can buy anyone. You can buy a politician. Let's say Joe Schmo's a politician. He's a constitutional guy. No, I'm not going to do it. Well, we'll give you $5 million. No, drop dead. I'm not going to do it. How about $50 million? Drop dead. How about $2 billion? Okay. You know what I mean? We don't have conviction. Margie and I have been bribed forever. We
No,
said
we haven't
drop
been
dead.
bribed. People have tried to bribe us.
I mean, they've tried to bribe us.
Please.
We say drop dead. We're not going to take your money. I mean, we've been offered lots of money to do criminal cases. No,
thank you.
we're not going to do criminal cases. We do constitutional work. But the
Okay, now
the position here is that the government, okay, where this took place is unconstitutional,
It's correct.
and they hired unconstitutional beings to perform unconstitutional actions upon the people. And when in God's name are the people going to stand up? That's what we're looking for.
yeah, because they'll continue until somebody puts a stop to it.
Stopped it. That's right.
And that means standing up. And so,
Mhm.
okay, we got another one. I want you to see this video, and I want the viewers to see it, and then you unpack what are we really watching here. So this is a man trying to get into a meeting. Police officers like, no, we're not letting anybody else in. Let's take a look.
They won't let anyone else in.
Hey, we're not letting anyone else in.
We're in the full.
You're the fire marshal? No, I'm the police officer. I'm not letting
You're the
anyone
fire
else in.
marshal.
I'm a police officer.
You
I'm
can't
not
enforce
letting
fire code, sir. It's not in your jurisdiction. Don't bow up to me.
anyone else in. No, I'm not.
You are. Don't bow up to me. I'm going to sign up to speak.
No, you're not. We're not letting anyone else in.
You're stopping me. How do you say your name?
Dane,
Dame. How long have you been with the Inola Police Department, Dame?
about 3 months.
You want to go get your supervisor over here, Dame, because you're enforcing rules you don't have the authority to enforce. Where's the law that says I can't come in here? That you can enforce. You can't. You're not the fire marshal. Only they can enforce the fire code. So go get your supervisor. You think I'm f***ing with you? I ain't playing around, man. I'm going to go past you. Are you going to arrest me? Are you going to arrest me? Are you going to arrest me? Because I'm going to come in there and cover this story. Do you speak? Guess you're not going to arrest me. Then stop blocking me.
We're not letting anyone else in.
You are not going to block my path. Do you have a count on how many people are in here?
Yes, we do.
Where's your count? Where's your clickers?
Chief's got it.
You have to be counting, bud. In and out. How many people are in here and what's your fire code? How many people are in here and what's your fire code? You're breaking the law. This is an open meeting to the public. You can't close the public out of an open meeting. You're committing a misdemeanor. So stop blocking us. If you want to get the fire marshal to do it, you can do that. But you don't have the authority, bub, to do that. You know you don't. Go get your supervisor. Go get your supervisor. 3
Hey, we're not
months.
letting anyone else in. Oh, yeah. No, we're not. Hey.
Don't touch me, man. Tell me I can't come into a meeting. You're welcome.
Okay, Jack, Margie, what's going on?
This fellow, thank goodness for people like this. He knows his rights, and he knows the limits that this particular police officer have imposed upon him. And he said, hey, what's your authority? You don't have any authority to do this. You don't have the authority to enforce those fire rules because you're not a member of the fire department, okay? And where's the law that says I can't come into a public meeting? It's an open public meeting. And of course, the officer was like, duh. He had no clue because he has a little script in his head that he's told, you say this and you do this. And he doesn't know beyond that because he doesn't know the law. He doesn't understand. Now, this fellow did not go into his rights. I would have taken it a little further, gone into my rights too. And I would have gone into the fellow's duty under his oath of office to uphold those rights and not to try to infringe upon those rights by keeping me out of a public meeting. This young man could actually find himself out of a job and even sued for what he did because he did try to deny this man his rights. And he did try to block his entrance and technically put his hands on him. That's an assault.
This fellow knew what to do, okay? And if you know what to do and you have the authority behind you to do it, then you can be very successful. And this guy was very successful. Now, he didn't have to argue his rights because he had the cop right away. I mean, if you look at the body language of the cop and the eyes of the cop, he was defeated right away, okay? And the guy prevailed, which is good. And we would love people to do that, to take these types of actions. But I go back to the position that the cop works for the city or the county or whatever it was, the municipality, okay? And the municipality is against your rights, okay? Right from the get-go, no matter what you think are your rights, the municipality is against your rights and will take your rights away from you unless you know your rights. This guy knew his rights. He didn't allow them to be taken away.
See, the way the systems work, the way these corporations work, that's the standard fare.
Yeah,
And shouldn't-
Jack, what you just said gave me an aha moment. So let's give an example here of speed limit signs. Okay. So there's a difference. We got to kind of cover a basic here. There's a difference between lawful and legal. Okay. Most people don't understand this. So lawful is what we've been talking about, the law of the land. And then legal is your statutes and all the deep state corporate craziness, right? Stop me
Yes.
if I'm wrong at any
That's
time.
correct.
So lawfully, we have a God-given right to be a traveler, but
Yes.
the legal system, the deep state craziness with the corporations, what they do is they impose all these laws and says, well, when you're 16, you got to get a driver's permit, and then you have to have an adult with you for 6 months, and then you can get a this and a that, and blah, 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 blah. And then you have a license. But lawfully, we have the right to be able to be a traveler, a God-given right to travel. Think about it, y'all. Think about it. Because there was not always a driver's license, but yet people were able to travel. So that's
right.
why we should really have a passport, not a driver's license. The system has speed limit signs everywhere. And so they stop you because they've imposed these restrictions against your God-given rights.
Right.
So
That's
Jack,
correct.
you just gave me this huge aha moment. Like, oh, I got goosebumps. Like I just had a light bulb come on at a whole nother level. So what you're saying is you have these rights as long as you haven't hurt anybody, as long as
That's
there's
correct.
no victim to your crime, then there's no crime. So
That's
did you steal
correct.
from anybody? Did you kill anybody? Okay, you were going 32 and a 30 and you got pulled over, and that officer had no right to pull you over because there was no victim. But the
That's correct.
officer isn't. Now the George Floyd thing, now this is a whole nother thing. I'm sitting there the night that everything, it was a Friday night, going crazy with the George Floyd thing. Chavez got his knee on George Floyd's neck, right? The country's having a big blow up, and people are losing their minds. And I'm like, why is it? And I want everybody to think back to this night, because this was a game changer for me. Well, this is so weird to me. Why are the police standing around letting the people like set stuff on fire? The next day they're taking a knee, apologizing for being white, or whatever. And you're like, why are people literally getting the crapola? They're innocent people getting beaten to death and whatever, or put into the hospital, and the police are just standing by. How could that be? It's supposed to be to serve and protect. I just want you to think for a second what we said about those DUNS numbers, okay? Who do the police serve and protect? And here's how you know the answer. Okay, here's how you know the answer. What's on the top of their paychecks?
The state of.
The state of.
All capital
Yeah.
letters.
Aha. And Margie just nailed it too. All capital letters. If you know, you know. So wow. So that was my like, something's wrong here. I thought the police were supposed to serve and protect. Why are they standing by while this man gets beaten? What is going on? I had so much confusion. And that's when the more you learn, the more you look back, and the more you go, they don't serve and protect us. It says serve and protect. And they let us believe the lie that they're serving and protecting us. They're not. Just like that officer blocking that man, he's not serving and protecting that man's rights. He's serving and protecting the corporation. And
That's correct.
again, what Jack just said, all roads, this is just so like light bulb. So Jack, you said what they're doing and what they're interested in always revolves around taking away the people's rights. Now, does the Constitution give us our rights? No. And I'm going to go back to the mask thing during the whole slowing on the spread. And that was, everybody wants you to wear a mask. And so when I'd go in the grocery store, and y'all know this story, I would say, no, thank you. And they'd be like, mask, no, thank you. We're not participating. No, thank you. And what I told my kids, and what I told many people at the time, was that I have a God-given right to breathe unrestricted.
That's right.
Period. There's nothing else to say. And so, no, thank you. We're not participating. And so, thank you, but no, thank you. And my kids and I would keep walking. We wouldn't even stop. and go on into the store. And so I never put a mask on. Never. And so never. I'm not sure how many people could say that, but I'm telling you now, never. I never owned one, wasn't touching one, wasn't having it. Okay, so and I could go into the fraud of the whole thing about the doctor stuff too and what happened to my husband, because I don't know if I've really gotten into that story. But the fact of the matter is I did what you described earlier, and that was I knew my rights, and it was just really point blank and plain. And that was I had a right to breathe unrestricted. And so what else is there to discuss? And people would, look at me shocked. And so, what, and so they're already shocked that I'm not wearing a mask. And now they're shocked that I'm telling them this kind of stuff. And so, and I was never I was never forced to leave a store. I stood like the man did saying, Bud, where's your fire marshal? You work for the fire department? These people are left speechless when they are called on their crapola is what it is.
Yes.
And that's what I did. I just was, I was just point blank and was very specific. And I had we're not participating. But and when somebody would question, it was like, well, I have a right to breathe unrestricted, a God-given right. And so once and that was it. My faith helped me to see through a lot of the crazy. So my faith is what told me when they said, stay out of the sun. Yeah, they're trying to kill us. My mother-in-law says, what do you mean? What do you mean? I go, well, let's just think about it. So God, everything in the world, the plants, everything needs, you plant something in the garden. Growing up, I lived with my grandparents. We had acres and acres of garden. You needed a couple of things. You needed healthy soil. You needed some water, and you needed, ding, 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 sunlight. And so when I found out about the New York study that was done on 82, I think it was 82 or 84 people that got COVID, and they gave high doses, 50,000 IUs of vitamin D3 for 2 days. Then it went down to 37.5, and it just kept stepping down. Only one person was hospitalized, ended up passing away, was obese. So everybody else, D3. Where do we get D3 from? Oh, the sun. And so see how it works. And so just like we need, like I've had Kathy O'Brien on the show numerous times and spoken to her personally numerous times. Kathy O'Brien explains that the brain is depleted of the oxygen that it needs for you to be a clear thinker, to be able to put things together, to be able to be strong. And so what they do in MK Ultra, which we have a country filled with MK Ultra victims, that what happens is you're wearing this mask and people just can't think clearly. And so they just go along. She said she was unable to even think about escaping because she could not even think. And she was so programmed. And so you have that. And so we have that right now with so many people that are so programmed to look up to doctors and attorneys, judges, the governmental officials. They're working in our best interests. I mean, I'm taking my kids to the pediatrician, for their well baby checkup. And you try to talk to them, and they're so MK Ultra, they can't even critically think between that and the fluoride, because the fluoride has got people so docile, so drugged and poisoned, just poisoned. It blows my mind, the poison.
It does more than just that. One of the other things that fluoride does is calcify the pineal gland, which is our direct connection to our etheric self, our higher self, if you want to call it, your spirit, your God spark. And that's not an accident that they fluoridated all these communities' waters without giving people any information or asking them permission. It's the same reason they put fluoride in toothpaste, because it doesn't protect you.
Yes.
And the American people did not know that, and look at how it's affected them. Think about it.
Okay, so let's talk about how to decalcify. I absolutely believe that the Holy Spirit revealed to me about how, and I looked back, and this is so good. So I didn't make the connection, but I started drinking fresh squeezed lemon water to heal my kidney stones. It's been 17 and a half years now. I have not had one kidney stone. I was getting them every 8 to 9 months. I did not think that the water out of my faucet tasted good. And I kept telling my husband, it tastes terrible. Something's wrong with this water. And I started buying bottled water. Then I go to the iridologist Nathan. Many of my viewers know who he is. He's been on. And so iridologist Nathan, I say to him, hey, I've been drinking fresh squeezed lemon water. What is the best kind of water to drink with your fresh squeezed lemon water? And he's, let me get this straight. So you're telling me that you every night you're drinking fresh squeezed lemon water, lemons from real lemon? Yes. Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years now. I just want to make sure I'm using the right kind of water. He's like, you're not talking about the stuff in the bottle, are you? No. Lemons. I'm buying 2 bags of lemons every week. He looked at me like I was a ghost. And he says, you're telling? And so I said, yes. So he said, I needed to be drinking distilled water because it's water in its purest form. Mm-hmm. And I said, wow, that kind of surprises me. And he said, why? And I said, well, y'all sell here at the health food store, y'all sell reverse osmosis water. So I thought you'd be telling me that to sell me some water. And he said, no, that's the second best, but you really need to be drinking distilled. And so, okay. So ever since then I drink distilled water and now I've gone over to organic just because I'm trying to have less chemicals. And I don't believe there's anything that's truly organic anymore, but at least hopefully it's, less. And so we wash the lemons and all that kind of stuff, and to this day, still no kidney stones. And so, but I started hearing the Holy Spirit. So when I started the show and I learned about the pineal gland, never heard of the pineal gland at this point, I just drinking my lemon water. I start hearing the Holy Spirit and I start having visions and dreams. Okay. So I start the show. It's been 15 years later, still drinking my lemon water, still hearing the Holy Spirit, having all these great experiences. And I start the show. It's a couple of months into it. One day the Holy Spirit reveals to me that it was the lemon water that decalcified my pineal gland. Yep. And so I think back and I start doing the math of when the very first time was that I heard the Holy Spirit, that I know, which it was about a book. So I know exactly when I heard the Holy Spirit and it was undeniable. And it was like, it sure wasn't my idea to write a book. And so it was right in that time. It was right then. Mm-hmm. And then it's been ever since then. I have visions and I get downloads and words of knowledge, all of that. And so the Holy Spirit revealed to me that I do believe that there is genuinely something to do with that. There is some absolute proof for me that the pineal gland is a connection and that there is something there. I need to ask Megan Walsh about it because, she was into all of that stuff with the deep state for years because of her father. And Megan Walsh she spent literally hours doing all this astral projection and stuff. So I need to ask her about it because I'm sure she could educate us on a whole nother level from the deep state. But anyways, so with that said, I'm with you, Margy. I do believe from a Holy Spirit perspective, as a Christian and a Christ follower, I absolutely do believe that there is a connection. That's all I can tell you. So, Jack, Margy, I know we had so much to talk about today, but one thing I do want to make sure that I ask you about before I let you go is I wanted to ask you, when we first talked a few weeks ago about the data centers, you said you were looking for people to help. If someone is watching, are you still looking for people to help fight these data centers?
Yes. We've offered to a lot of people around the country our assistance, and helping them, but only on a constitutional basis.
And they have to get involved. Okay. We're not going to do it for them.
And they must be involved. They must actually do the work.
Yes.
We will show them what we do and how we do it. All right. And we'll give them documents and what have you, but it's up to them to do it. We can't do it for them. Most of the people
what about flock cameras?
Flock cameras are very bad.
They're part and parcel.
Will you help fight those?
Yes, absolutely. It's the same thing. Okay. Those things are a violation of our privacy. That's a violation of the 4th Amendment, the 5th Amendment, the 1st Amendment, goes on and on. 9th Amendment itself. They're unconstitutional completely.
We're willing to help anyone anywhere in the country on data centers if they're willing to go constitutional.
And do the work.
If they're not willing to go constitutional, then we can't help them because they're going to lose. If they have a lawyer, they're going to lose. If they use statutes, rules, and regulations, they're going to lose. We'd rather spend our time with people who know what they're doing and know the Constitution is the supreme law of the land and who are willing to participate in their own benefit, for their own benefit of their own community. I mean, these data centers are terrible. We mentioned some of the things that are some of the detriments, but think of the economic detriment, okay? If you have data centers in a community, what's going to happen to the value of the property in that community? It's going to go down, okay? And if it going to go down, the same thing happened in Maine. The value of that property went to zero. People just left their homes.
It's not going to go down. It's not going to go down. It's going to plummet. It's going to be devastating. These are people's
people are going to lose everything they've invested in their homes.
They're going to have to leave their homes, just like people in Maine left their homes.
Right.
Okay. And the pollution is going to be horrible. Okay. The fire possibility is going to be horrible. The noise, the absolute nonsense of the whole thing is against the rights of the people. So we want to help the rights of the people. We want to help the people. So anyone in the country who's trying to fight a data center, let us know. If you want to go constitutionally, we'll help you. Now, we offered this to, what's her name, Erin Brockovich? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Erin Brockovich.
Never heard from her.
Never heard from her. Okay.
She's supposedly interested in this issue.
I'm not sure where she is. If she's not willing to go constitutional, I'll be a little wary of that. Okay. Yeah. The constitutional way can work. Will it work every time? Well, it's worked almost every time for us. Most of our victories, I mean, we've had thousands of victories. We and our people, not just us. Almost 100%. Okay, so the Constitution can work. Can it work in data centers? I believe it can, if the people get behind it and get behind the Constitution. So anyone in the country can contact us.
Same with the block cameras too. It's the same issue, basically.
Okay. All right. I want to, there's nothing wrong with Jack and Margy's website. Everything is fine with that. Producer Ron has put the Common Law Handbook, UCC Connection, and the Strawman book links in today's show description. If you go to the Michelle Moore Show Rumble channel and you pull up today's show description, you'll be able to find all of the applicable links. Praise God. Alexandria 18 says, all my grandchildren are homeschooled and pediatrician free, a total win-win for humanity and our future generations. Alexandria 18, sound like to me, you're one heck of a mama because your kids are doing it right. That reflects on you, sweetheart. And what a blessing. You have got to be one blessed mama and grandmama to have that. God bless you. That's amazing. And so Die Laughing says, if you haven't read Jack and Margy's book, Bypass the Banks, it's quite an education and highly recommended. That's so good. Thanks, Die Laughing. I used to call her DI Laughing because I didn't know it was Die Laughing. Jack, Margy, thank you so much for being here today and sharing so much of just valuable information. We're going to have Jack and Margy back next Friday. So this Friday we got Godly Granny releases, but they're going to be back and we're going to hear a success story, quite the story of a gentleman that they helped and that we've actually mentioned here on the show before back last year when the guy was in the thick of it. And now we're going to hear about amazing testimonial of how things worked out and how the system, the people that were trying to, supposedly supposed to be serving and protecting him went against him and came after him. And so we're going to hear some of these details. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Margy.
Thank you.
All right. What a blessing just to Americans everywhere. If you're interested in reaching out to Jack and Margy, you can always email them. Producer Ron, will you please put their email also in today's show description? So that way everybody will be able to email them. If you are interested and serious about, whatever's going on with data centers and flock cameras in your area, if something's going on and you want to go the constitutional route, give them a call. All right. I want to remind you the Godly Granny sale is over tonight at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Many of y'all have taken advantage of it. But just in case you haven't, I just want to remind you, Freedom 20 is the coupon code for 20% off. And so that way, and it's 20% off your entire order. I mean, geez, winning much? Okay. I hope that you enjoyed today's show. I want to remind you about tomorrow and Thursday's documentaries and educational videos. Y'all, if you have not seen some of these videos and documentaries and all this information on fluoride, please, for just all that is good, please watch it and educate yourself on that. And then go to godlygranny.com and buy you some tooth powder, because I promise you, there's zero chance that there's any fluoride. Look how white my teeth are. I'm using Godly Granny tooth powder. It's great. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm going to see you Friday right here live with Eve. She's going to be talking. I've got a list of questions for her. We're not just releasing new products. I've got a few questions that we're going to go over. And a lot of these questions come from your questions that we end up answering and helping you with. And I go, you know what, Eva, I just don't think most people know this. So we're going to cover this. And so actually I was talking with little Jocelina, my future daughter-in-love. She's marrying my older son. And this morning about covering some things at Beauty Boot Camp, Godly Granny's Beauty Boot Camp, about things that people just don't know. Women are not taught. And I keep telling her, I'm like, you know, things a lot of women in their 50s and 60s and 70s have never heard before. And so, I mean, there's some things I have to keep asking her now. Okay, let me get that straight. And so this is her passion, and she's been to school. We call it beauty school. She went to beauty school. And so she's an esthetician, and she loves all things beauty and skin, and she's going to be teaching, and it's going to be so much fun. And she's gorgeous, y'all. And just gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Just precious too. So she'll be there, and y'all will get to meet her at Godly Granny Boot Camp or Beauty Boot Camp. So, hey, by the way, Universal Coin and Bullion and Wave Watch. Wow. Dr. Mike Fulgens wrote a personal check and said, bless the women that come. And it was a big check. It was crazy. So he said, I am very passionate about supporting women's education, health, events. He said, not only will Universal Coin and Bullion help, but I personally am going to send you a check. And it wasn't a couple of $100, y'all. It was thousands to make sure it's an extra special day for the ladies that attend. So I'm just saying, I almost started crying, because I'm already thinking about all the ways I could bless the attendees. And so it's going to be a great day. Did I say also we're going to be giving away a Wave Watch? Wave Watch gave a Wave Watch, and also helped to secure the venue. It's just going to be so great. So anyways, and Eve will be doing what Eve does. I talked to her this morning. She was sharing all the stuff that she's preparing and thinking, and we were talking through this, and she's like, what do you think about that? Do you like this idea? I was thinking about that, and Eve doing Eve. Y'all know what that means. So it's going to be a great day. And so I hope that you can come if you want to, and make sure you get your tickets on Friday. We're going to open up for sales, and I expect them to be gone pretty quickly. We'll see, but that's what I expect. It's going to be a great day. Y'all have been asking for this. If you hadn't asked, I wouldn't have done it. I like to, sit at home with Flashmore and just mind my own business on Saturdays and go get facials. But I decided to do this as a lot of work. And I decided to do this because I think that y'all need it. Women need it. There's a lot of education, a lot of things we don't talk about on the show. And it's going to be all ladies. So it's a women's event. I don't know. Maybe we get Steve Jarvis to do a men's event. I guess a men's event would be what? Fishing and hunting. And so I don't know. But anyways, with him, there's no telling. But anyways, I hope that y'all enjoy the rest of the day. And I hope you enjoyed our time with Jack and Margie. They'll be back. And it was so good to have them back home where they belong. All right. We'll see you right here next time on the Michelle Moore Show.
In a world full of darkness, I found my light. With Jesus by my side, I conquer every fight. Walking in faith, I won't be afraid. His love surrounds me, my fears will fade. Joyful and grateful for all that I receive. Hope is my anchor, love is my guide. With Jesus I'll overcome, I'll never hide. A warrior of strength, in his name I rise. In a world of chaos, his love never dies. With gratitude in my heart, I see the beauty around. Through trials and tribulations, his grace I found. No war can defeat me. I stand tall. Hope is my anchor, love is my guide. With Jesus I'll overcome, I'll never hide. A warrior of strength, in His name I'll rise. In a world of chaos, His love never dies. His love never dies. Hope is my anchor, love is my guide. With Jesus I'll overcome, I'll never hide. A warrior of strength, in His name I'll rise. In a world of chaos, His love never dies. Hope is my anchor, love is my guide. With Jesus I'll overcome, I'll never hide. A warrior of strength, in His name I'll rise. In a world of chaos, His love never dies. His love never dies.
Ever read the ingredients on your everyday products and think, wait, is this shampoo or a science experiment? If your lotion needs a translator, a lab coat, and a warning label, it might be time for a change. Godly Granny products are made with purpose, love, and ingredients you can actually recognize. No mystery chemicals, no toxins, just clean, simple goodness. The way Granny would have wanted, because your skincare shouldn't require a chemistry degree. From shampoo, lotion, skincare, and all natural health remedies, Godly Granny has everything your family needs. It's no wonder we have over 1,200 5-star reviews from our amazing customers to prove it. Join the families just like yours who've switched to Godly Granny. Visit godlygranny.com and sign up for our emails to receive a special discount code for 10% off your first order, plus exclusive updates and information on newly released products.
Hi, I'm Linda Bamber Olson, the inventor of the Wave Watch, the world's first frequency therapy watch. It features over 1,100 targeted frequencies combined into 150 playlists for ease of use. These sounds are acoustical and they move through your body, through your skin and your bones. You don't necessarily have to hear it. As each frequency goes through, it can be realigning, revitalizing, reconnecting, and even rebalancing your body all the way to the cellular level. So that's why we have so many testimonies for aches, ADD and ADHD, allergies, colds and flu, dental, emotions, headaches, joints, kidney stones, nerves, organs, skin health, swelling, tremors, vagus nerve, and so many more. Use this code for $100 off when you purchase the Wave Watch. Thanks for learning about frequencies, using them, and supporting the Wave Watch.
Universal Coin and Bullion is my partner for gold, silver, rare coins, and precious metal IRAs. For over 30 years, they've helped more than 500,000 customers and completed over $2.6 billion in precious metals transactions. They're offering callers 2 1-ounce American Silver Eagles and a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle at actual dealer cost. Call Universal Coin and Bullion today.
For Michelle's social media links, go to michellemooreshow.com.